What's up, everyone? Before we start this week's episode, just want to let you know through 10 and 7 on AP Rowdy Jesus's list, I usually have a problem with the mic. We do fix it after number 7, so don't give up on the podcast.
Still a B-boy, from the old to the new, still a B-boy, too bold for the school, still a B-boy, east coast to the west, B-boys worldwide, we supposed to be blessed, still a B-boy.
This week we're heading to Houston, Texas to talk about a groundbreaking Southern group. They showed the South was not just booty-based music, and they were just as hard as any street in New York or LA. The most well-known version of the group is Scarface, Bushwick Bill, Willie D. Don't forget Reddy Red, the DJ. Top 10 Geto Boys songs. Joining me, as always, Raven Hunter. We got Noise Wave back in the house. Surreal MC, AP, and Brad Sadler is here too. We are going to do a deep dive into those Geto Boys catalog. And I'm going to start it off with what I think is my favorite Geto Boys album. And it came out in 1996, and it's The Resurrection. And I'm going with the last track, Point of No Return. You know, although this isn't their most iconic album, this is my favorite. This was when they reunited after Willie D left. Really, really good beat by Mike Dean. It just gets you hype. And it finishes the album on a high note. This album is really bookend, really good. The first and last songs. You got Willie D and Scarface just going back and forth, no hook, just dope rhymes, amazing beat, a way just make you wanting more. Great way to end the album. So Point of No Return, The Resurrection. That was my number 10. Raven, what's yours?
My number 10, I was on 1992's Uncut Dope with Damn It Feels Good to Be a Gangster. I just always remember loving that beat, that vibe, that sample, everything about it. And of course, I think that showed up in Office Space as one of the many songs from the Geto Boys on that soundtrack. But yeah, that's just such a smooth fucking beat. I love that shit.
Amazing beat. And that Uncut Dope release is an interesting release, which I'll talk about later, but amazing song. And I know they even had a video for that. I can picture the video. I didn't go back and watch it, but I know there was a video. I can picture it. Surreal, what's your number 10?
10 from We Can't Be Stopped. There's two versions of it. Gotta Let 'Em Hang, and You Gotta Let Your Nuts Hang.
Oh, I got the beat going in my head right now. No, and that's their most iconic album. That was a Scarface. Just Scarface is on that song, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, it was the B-side to Mind Playing Tricks maxi single too.
And I
think there was a couple versions of that single though. Like
Probably.
there was one with the club. So, but on one of the main versions, where they got the money counter on the front, it's on that one.
Speaking of that, there was a version. Now that you say that, we're not talking about Gotta Let Your Nuts Hang, but on Mind Playing Tricks maxi single, I believe, an extended version of the song, which is different. It's not extra verses, but the beat and between verses a little bit
it's
longer.
On the CD. It's on the CD maxi single. And then there's a CD just single, and then there's the 12-inch and then there's a tape single, and the one you're talking about, I think, is only on the CD single, maxi single.
I haven't thought of that in a long time, but I remember always listening to that extended remix when they used to do those. No, I Gotta Let Your Nuts Hang. The beat is in my head. So we are at number 10. Brad, what is yours?
All right, so I'm kind of gonna straddle a fence here. So I picked "Gangster of Love," and I was like, do I pick the one from Grip It on that level or the self-titled? So now I will tell you this: the sample on Grip It is way better because it's the original Steve Miller sample. And it's funny, I actually was conversing with Scarface on Twitter, and I asked him about that. I was like, well, why didn't you guys keep that sample on the self-titled? And he said they couldn't clear it. But I don't understand, because you can stream both. You can stream Grip It and you have the Steve Miller sample, or you can stream the self-titled and have the Leonard Skinner sample. But I really like Bushwick Bill doing that last verse about getting his asshole licked out. Like the way that he describes that is way fucking better than Scarface doing it. And so like I'm like, I don't know which one to pick. So I'm straddling the fence. Interestingly, you said Geto Boys, Geto, and that is on Grip It. Like after the first press of Grip It, they went from Geto, Ghetto, and you can get a tape and a CD with that on there, and I actually have a promo photo with Bushwick, Willie D, Scarface, DJ Rowdy Red with the Ghetto, which was like the first version of the band with a whole different people, which I didn't pick at all. I tried to go through and pick all songs that had all three, whether it was Bushwick, Willie D, Scarface, or Big Mike mixed in for Willie D in the songs that I picked. But I did want to point that out, that you actually could get that version with Ghetto if you're a collector like I am.
There's two making troubles. There's making troubles with both spellings, and then there's I think 3 singles with the old spelling and the old lineup, like Car Freaks. I can't remember the other two off the hand, but
there's
vinyl
there's
singles.
3 singles on vinyl that aren't on any of the CDs.
Yes, it's like you run this or you ain't run this or something like that. Yeah, I have all.
Yeah, and then there's a song, Must Be the Music, that's on a Priority compilation called Gangster Rap. That's not on any actual Rap-A-Lot release at all. It's only that track's only on that compilation Priority put out, because it was put out right when they switched the lineup.
Oh, so who's on the lineup on that song?
I think it's Sir Jukebox and those guys. It's in
the original.
Sometimes, so Rowdy over there in the other box, he's my brother, and he had Royal Flush, and I had like Raheem the Invincible and Raheem the Dream. We had a lot of the old Rap-A-Lots in jazz management releases, and then like when I was researching for tonight, I couldn't remember. There's so many things I forgot, like the different lineups of Too Much Trouble and stuff. Like I used to be like super in tune with it, and then like looking back, I'm like, I forgot about this, I forgot about that.
Interesting. We are still at number 10. One more to go. We did not forget about you, AP. What's your number 10?
All right, my number 10 is The Other Level off We Can't Be Stopped. It's basically Bushwick having a threesome with some chicks. And if you know me, if you don't, I was a slut in my younger days. And that shit, that slow ride beat, him getting bitches and stuff, I just have meet each other out and all that. It always excites me, and that it's one of my favorite slow bangers of all time.
No, it is great storytelling, and like only Bushwick can. I mean, the crazy stories he's told over the years, no doubt about it. We made it to number 9, and I'm going to an album I didn't think I was going to pick, but I did. 2005's The Foundation, the last Geto Boys album ever to be released. And I'm going with the single, Yes, Yes, Y'all. This would be the last Geto Boys. And I think this is the last project where Bushwick Bill sounds like the real Bushwick or the old Bushwick Bill. He put out some other solo stuff. It just was never the same. I love the old school vibe of the song mixed with a Geto Boys twist. It's just a fun song, and Scarface actually produced the beat. I'm glad they ended the group. The last record was the main core group that are known. Because before this, you had that, what I thought was weaker, the Good, the Bad, the Ugly without Bushwick. I always kind of looked, I don't want to say down on that album, but it just wasn't the same without Bill. And one thing I'll point out is in the video, Bushwick's drinking a 40 ounce, and it just looks so big in his little hands. It's comical. It makes me laugh every time I see it. This shit looks like it's that big. That's my number 9. Yes, yes, y'all. What about you, Raven? What's your number 9?
My number 9, that Foundation album was like really fucking good. It was way better than I remembered it being. But I think I might have been remembering Good and Bad and the Ugly because I really don't like anything from that album. But I went with Real End Shit from the Foundation. It was produced by Scarface. It has a really dope beat, and Scarface has the perfect flow. It's just, I love Scarface anyway. I talked about him many times, but maybe it's because he made the beats, but he just rode those beats really fucking well in the Foundation. He was kind of the standout of the 3. And Real End Shit was just a real dope song.
No, I agree with you. It was better than I had remembered it. I had remembered Yes, Yes, Y'all as a single, but I hadn't remembered every single track, and it was a really solid album. Number 9, Surreal. What is yours?
I'm gonna kind of cheat a little bit, and this was a single and a video and a cut on the Mad Cobra's album, Mad Cobra featuring Geto Boys, "Dead End Street." You guys remember that? Dead End
Don't.
Street. It's a dance
I
hall
don't remember
reggae
that at
track,
all,
but
actually.
it's pretty sick.
I don't remember that
Shout
at
out.
all.
And it's not on a Geto Boys album, but it was released as an actual single, and the video was on UMTV Raps quite a bit. So I figured it's legit.
I'll let it pass. But I don't remember that song at all. I'm curious. I gotta
Yeah,
look
you,
that
well, you
up.
remember Matt Cobra, the main
Yeah, I remember Mad
Flex
Cobra.
Time to Have Sex. It's on
Right.
that album, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was its own single that spawned a remix, and it was pretty big in certain markets.
Interesting. I'm gonna have to go peep that out. You have my interest sparked. Number 9, Brad. What's yours?
You know, it's interesting. I really thought I would have some songs from the Foundation on my top 10 list because I actually really love that record. But man, there's so many good songs, and I had to take the Foundation, the one song I had on there, which was Yes, Yes, Y'all, off to put a couple others on there. But I don't know if y'all know this or remember this. The Geto Boys were supposed to do one more album right before Bushwick died. They had a pledge music, and they were gonna, if they had raised a certain amount of dollars, they were gonna go in and record another album, and they fucking did not raise the money. I actually pledged to it because I was like, damn, I want another Geto Boys album. That was kind of sad to me. But anyways, my song. So back to my song, number 9. You know what? I ain't with being broke, and that's the song that I picked. Again, I just went through.
Yeah.
There's so many good Geto Boys songs, and honestly, we touched on a lot of the solo stuff. So I was just like, I'm gonna put down all the songs where all 3 guys are on there and pick them. And "Ain't With Being Broke" made it in at number 9. It's a great song, great beat, great lyrics. Everything about it's hype.
I agree. And similar to you, I gave myself the rule was I wasn't going to pick any that just had one member on. AP, what's your number 9?
My number 9 is "Assassins on Making Trouble." And okay, first of all, any song that has Geto Boys in it, you know, where they play it over and over, I immediately hook.
Right.
It's on self-titled. It's the one
Yeah.
song off "Making Trouble" that Rick Rubin redid on Grip It. There's 2 songs on Grip It that didn't make it on the self-titled, and then there's 3 on self-titles that are on Grip It.
We are to number 8, and I'm taking us back to 1996. What a year. And I'm going with the big single off of here, "The World Is a Ghetto." It samples the classic war song of the same name. The beat is actually done by Mike Dean and N.O. Job, 2 huge names in Rap-A-Lot production.
Yeah.
I always loved this song because as a kid, my dad played war records all the time around the house. So when hip hop starts coming and I'm hearing all these war samples, I knew what they were. So whenever I hear a war sample, I'm always kind of like brought back to a kid. My dad always played the war records, and this was obviously one. And it's a great on the real song. And the more I listen to Geto Boys, the more I think Willie D is really underrated all around. This was also on the soundtrack for Original Gangsters, a very bad movie, but a very good soundtrack. Check out the soundtrack if you haven't. So that's mine. "World Is a Ghetto." Number 8. Raven, what about you?
"The World Is a Ghetto" was my number 8.
Of course.
I love that beat and I love that chorus. And I actually told you guys I had never really listened to 6 Feet Deep because Willie D wasn't in it. And he used to be my favorite member back in the day. Scarface definitely takes that now that I've gotten older and learned to appreciate more fundamentals of music and not just like what I hear. But Willie D kills that song, and he's very aggressive in this album. Some of his most aggressive tracks come from the Resurrection album, and that's one of the reasons I fucking always love that album so much. They all sound so mad.
Something from this song has stuck with me ever since I first heard it back in 96 is "If something smells, I say it smells smelly." From Bushwick saying "little kids smelling smelly." That always got me. That's a good pick. That's what I would have went with number 8. Surreal. What's your number 8?
Number 8 is this title track "Making Trouble" from Making Trouble. It's got that Run DMC Beastie Boys guitar, and it's, you know, going back and revisiting this, the bass, I mean, it just hits still. It's like it still stands up. Like some of the cuts on that album I like them because I'm old school, but I could see other people being like, "Oh, this is a little bit too old school," but that "Making Trouble" little dumps.
So I'm glad Making Trouble got some love because I couldn't fit anything from that record on it. Number 8, Brad.
So I'm gonna go with Assassins from Self-Titled. I just like that lineup of the band better. But I mean, you can't if you're from Detroit and you're into the Wicked shit, you know that Assassins was like kind of the song, really the song that launched the Wicked shit, that Esham and then ICP. And at least ICP has given homage. They might have even done a remake of that song at some point. I can't remember.
They did.
Wicked clowns, wicked clowns.
Yep. Yep.
Esham was always said he was first, but that particular song off Making Trouble, the best song off Making Trouble, but the self-titled lineup is the best. And like whoever said the Geto Boys, like I drive my wife crazy every time that song comes on, because then I start the rest of the day. I'm like, Geto Boys, Geto Boys. I love that one. Had to include it.
It's classic Geto Boys, and it probably was like my number 11 or 12. And I was assuming someone would get it on their list, and we already got 2 of you. Number 8, AP, what's yours?
There's been talk about the Foundation, and personally, as a whole record, I think it's their best one. Sound-wise, together-wise, lyric-wise, production-wise, it's my favorite. It might not be my favorite songs, but this number 8 for me is Declaration of a War. It's track 2 on the album, and it starts out and the beat kicks in. It's all dark and it has a build-up. Everybody just spits so hard on that album, and especially that song. And
Number 7, and I'm going to 1993's Till Death Do Us Part, and I'm going with the first song, Geto. I remember being really skeptical when I heard about this album and when I bought it, because it was a different lineup. And really, Big Mike was in a kind of no-win situation, but he did as good a job as anyone could for replacing a member. I mean, Big Mike brought it on this whole album, and this song proves it. They all kill it. It's just a really hard song, and all 3 of them just seem to bring their A game, and that's a good way to start off a record. Beat by N.O. Joe, really good scratching in the hook. I love the scratching before everyone's verse. So Geto helped ease my mind and my worries back in 93 that this was going to fall flat on its face, because Willie D said, fuck rap. Well, he didn't say fuck rap a lot because he's still on rap a lot, but he said, fuck the Geto Boys, I'm going solo. Whatever. Number 7, Raven.
So I went to 1990s Geto Boys, Gangsta of Love. I love that version of the Gangsta of Love. I actually really, the 90s Geto Boy album, the self-titled, might be right there under Resurrection for my favorite Geto Boys album. I loved every version of the songs I already liked anyway when that album came out. So Gangsta of Love.
Number 7, Surreal.
My number 7 is also G to the E. Here it comes. Yeah, just the way they have Jay always usually most of the times does the intro. There's always an intro on the album, and then that track too. It kind of stumbles into it. Here it goes, motherfucker, down. And it just Till Death is probably it might be my favorite. I know I'm breaking all the rules, but it nostalgically, it was in a time of my life when I was real into Southern rap too. So I had that on tape, and I have my LA Sound 12s in the trunk. It was a time of my life where I was cruising around, listening to the like bass real loud, and that tape's just super nostalgic. Another thing is Rowdy. So Rowdy, Jesus, AP, he's my brother. We actually opened for Big Mike a few years back, well, quite a few years back, at South by Southwest in Austin, which I actually got to record a song with him, which was released on Dat Piff, but I think Dat Piff went down a year ago. I think it's on YouTube and Spotify.
Yeah, it's a version on YouTube.
Yeah. It was on the Jimmy Hooligans EP on Dat Piff, but yeah, I think it's on Bandcamp too, but I mean, I wasn't trying to plug that. I was just saying, like, I got a lot of love for Big Mike.
Go rack it up.
Yeah. What other songs have you done in your career?
I broke every rule that.
No, I'm nostalgic for that too, because when that album came out in 93, I was in high school. So like anything that comes out in that point of your life seems to be a little bit more nostalgic for. But it is a really good album. I kind of never put it up to the top because of no Willie D, but Big Mike did an amazing job filling in. There's no doubt about it. So number 7, we are on. Brad, what is yours?
So I'm glad two of you guys got Geto. I had it, and then I had to replace it later with another song. But Till Death Do Us Part is a fucking amazing album, and it's really hard for me to pick my favorite Geto Boys album, because sometimes I could say Self-Titled, sometimes I could say Resurrection, sometimes Till Death Do Us Part. There's they're just a lot of. I mean, they had so many really, really good albums. But N.O. Joe like made all those beats in his house. I think I told you, showed you that post that he made about it like a few years back. And that's such a cool story. And he brought that to Rap a Lot, and then they kind of, fused that in with their sound. I honestly did not. It didn't. Big Mike, I don't. I mean, he just did so fucking good on that album. Like, I didn't even miss Willie D at all. And honestly, it's not on my picks today, but No Nuts No Glory is one of my favorite rap songs of all time. Like, he just comes on that beat is awesome, and then he just raps from start to finish, no chorus, no nothing, just goes hard. So I have a lot of respect for him on that album. I wish that he had been on more. I wish they would have made him like, there would have been 4 members. It'd been awesome. All that being said, I'm going to the Self-Titled. The one thing I love about the Geto Boys is that they were the crudest, rudest, craziest, hardest lyrics. Like when you think about some of those songs, so Mind of a Lunatic, I just fucking love that song. I mean, it's just whenever I play it, especially when my wife's in the car, I'm always like looking over to see what she's thinking, because it's intense. And so that's my number 7.
Looking through a window. Now my body is warm. She's naked, and I'm a peeping
I'm a peeping
Tom.
Tom.
Yeah. It's really good, couple music, very romantic, get her in the mood.
Going,
Yeah, right. No, Mind of a Lunatic's a good one, and that just might get brought up again soon. Rowdy Jesus, number 7.
Well, I guess since we're breaking the rules, my number 7, Till Death Do Us Part song, Straight Gangsterism. Now, this probably gets looked past a lot, but I don't know, the way they ride the beat, how good the beat is, and the topic at hand, obviously, gets me going. So, a Straight Gangsterism.
Well, we are to number 6, and I gotta say, Brad, good minds think alike. I'm going to 1990s, the Geto Boys, Mind of a Lunatic. And it did originally appear on 89's Grip It on Another Level, but the remake version I think is a little better. If you compare them, there's more energy in the newer one behind the lyrics, and they would drop the beat at certain points that would just, make it more dramatic. But this is where I wanted to talk about Gangsta Nip. So people always discuss who was the creator of what would be known as horrorcore, and Esham, Gangsta Nip, etc. But this is pre-Esham. This song comes out in '89. There is no Esham the world knows about, and Gangsta Nip was known to write a lot of Bushwick's verses. So these things that Bushwick is talking about, Mind of a Lunatic, I would almost bet money on that Nip wrote those verses. So there really is no debate. Nip was the first one, at least that I know of, to do things so, dark and crazy and horror movie-ish. Another thing that's weird about this song, though, that always got me was there's 6 verses. Between all 6 verses is a hook, but the order is weird. Verse 1 and 2 are Bushwick, verse 3 and 4 are Scarface, and 5 and 6 is Willie D. So one member would do a verse, hook, then that same member would do a verse, hook, and they would repeat that formula, which I don't know if I've ever seen that formula in a song before. Usually you go from this member to that member to this member. That just always stuck out to me. Maybe I overthought it, but maybe I have a mind of a lunatic, and that's why I'm thinking about it. So that's number 6. Raven, what's yours?
Number 6, 1990, the Geto Boys, Assassin. I don't hate the original version, but I do like the feel of the remake way more. The beat's better, and the way they flow sounds nicer. For a long time, my favorite album, like ever, if you had asked me when I was younger. So like that lineup, that version of the Geto Boys is what my mind usually automatically would go to until Resurrection came out, and that album was just too fucking hard. But yeah, I went with Assassins.
No, I kind of feel bad it didn't make my list, but I knew it would get brought up because it's just iconic Geto Boys. Number 6, Surreal. What's yours?
Grip It on the Other Level. Do It Like a Geo. But now I think about it, it's the self-titled version. And this is one of the songs where they're more similar than some of the other songs between the two albums. But it's the first time on a nationwide scale there's a video for Do It Like a Geo that we saw them. I remember having a couple of the tapes with the old spelling that I got at like a Pemida, which is like a Shopco, like a lower budget Target back in the day. Yo MTV Raps played the video a few times, and we really got to see him on a bigger scale with Do It Like a Geo.
That's definitely the first video I ever remember seeing of them. Brad, what is your number 6?
All right, so I'm finally getting Till Death Do Us Part, even though I've talked about it a lot. And I'm going with Crooked Officer. There's Bushwick's verse on this is really awesome. Like I love the part where he says, "Do I have to bleach my fucking skin so I can look like these white folks?" And then Big Mike, honestly, his little story in there is so cool. I think this is one of those songs where Bushwick and Big Mike actually shine over Scarface in a song. So that's why I picked it as number 6.
Number 6, RJAP. What's yours?
All right. So my number 6, again, off the Foundation. We're going back to that. It was the song What? I don't know if anybody remembers it, but I love that song. Like I said, good. The album as a whole, I just love, but I had to put that one on the top 10 list just because that's really what I listen to. When I put on music at work or anything right now, it's the Foundation.
So we are halfway done. We are to number 5, and I'm taking us to the year 1992, Uncut Dope. Damn, it feels good to be a gangster. Now, this album only had 2 new songs, and this was one of them. It's a great, what I always call on the real songs. And you even got Jay Prince rapping the last verse as the president. But the beat was by John Beto. But I want to talk about this album because it's a really weird release to me. It's part greatest hits, part unreleased songs, and kind of part sampler, because it had songs from the forthcoming album that would come out the next year with Big Mike on it. So it was just a really weird type release, and it's the first time you hear the Big Mike version of Geto Boys. And they also include a song that was actually on Gangsta Nip's album that featured the Geto Boys. It just was a really weird mix of songs, I always thought. But damn, it feels good to be a gangster. It was amazing. The other unreleased song was called The Unseen, which was like an anti-abortion song, but damn, it feels good to be a gangster will always get me. And last year, maybe the year before, I'm sitting minding my own business in my house, and there was a commercial for Walmart, a Christmas commercial, and the beat for Damn It Feels Good to Be a Gangster was playing.
Stop.
And that blew my mind. Walmart is playing fucking Geto Boy beats. I'm sure no one who had power knew what the hell it was, but
you'd be surprised. The most lamest people in the world, when I mention the Geto Boys, will be like, "Do you know that song from Office Space?" Or I'll be like, "Damn, it feels good to be." And I do like the song, but like so many lame, not y'all, but so many lame people like that song. There was no way I was picking that song, but it is a great song.
Yeah, the beat gets me every time.
So one of the reasons they had so many compilations like Uncut Dope and Best Of and Greatest Hits was Jay was always changing the distribution. Like Selecto, like they're on Priority, obviously Geffen, Priority, New Tribe with
New Tribe.
There's like 4 or 5 different, and to get out of deals or to go to different distributions to have more product on the shelf. That's why there's so many compilations and so many songs reused. It was just different. It was a boardroom decision type of thing, a business thing.
Raven, number 5.
Number 5, Mine's Playing Tricks on Me. We Can't Be Stopped. It's that beat. It's fucking iconic, and Scarface starts that song perfectly. I just love that fucking, and Bushwick Bill, probably one of my favorite verses he ever did outside of like his solo work for Geto Boys. It was probably on Mine's Playing Tricks on Me.
Absolutely iconic. I'm sure multiple people will bring it up later. I was wondering how long it would take before it got brought up. So number 5.
A little lower than I expected, to be honest. But
that's what I'm thinking, but we'll see where your list goes. Surreal, what is your number 5?
Off this one's gonna be kind of left field off self-titled City Under Siege. Today's special, first off, like Reddy, even maybe Rick and Beto, Eno, Mike, Dean, like all the Geto Boys producers, when they sample Geto Boys and Geto Boys songs, they're the best group to sample themselves. I don't Cypress Hill might be up there too, but there's something about the way they sample themselves that's like amazing. And then that City Under Siege is kind of like the street tale, and it's one of those songs you kind of forget about because it's on the end of that album, and it's only on that album. It's really good. Like go back and listen to it. You'll like probably like punch a window or something. It's great.
You are right. They do. I never thought about it, but we were talking about the song GETO and the great, sampling and scratching of, previous verses by each member before they come. That's done really well.
I appreciate when you said you were talking the order on Assassins and stuff, because I used to analyze the hell of the order NWA, because there's a lot of songs on Evil for Zaga where Easy would do back cleanup. And like the order that the NWA was in songs in Geto Boys, there was something to it.
At least I wasn't the only one analyzing orders of artists on rap songs back then.
Oh, we'll spend hours on that. We love that.
Sorry.
Yeah, that quickly morphed into like Scarface usually pulling double duty as he became the most famous member later on down the road. So I did think about that too. And when I was re-listening to that song for this, I was like, yeah, it's kind of interesting how, Bushwick comes out and does a couple, like you said, couple of things, so on and so forth.
Well, while we got you, what is your number 5?
My number 5 has been talked about, but it's from the Resurrection, and it is World is a Ghetto. I love all the hardcore Geto Boy stuff, the raping, killing, whatever lyrics that they got going on. But in 96, I was getting a little older. I was 22. I was maturing. And when that album came out, I was maturing with the Geto Boys. They were talking about not just killing people and selling dope, but they were talking about social problems, and they had that great fucking war sample. And I remember listening to that song over and over. Just that song just is so catchy and so good, and just thinking, I've come somewhere. I'm down, because normally, like, if a song had any kind of socially redeeming qualities, I was like, fuck that song. I'm never listening to that again. But World is a Ghetto, it caught me. So number 5.
Wow, the Geto Boys got you to give a fuck about society. Number 5, AP.
I'm going to go with Gangsta Love. I wrote down both versions because I couldn't decide, but somebody said it earlier, the one with Bushwick, oh, Kathy, that hoe is hot. When he delivers that, that's my favorite version, because Bushwick makes that verse so much better. But yeah, Gangsta Love, both samples are amazing.
All right. We are to number 4, and I'm going to the 1990s self-titled with another song that was also on Grip It, and that's Do It Like a Geo. This version I just think is a little better. We talked about the video. It's just a great late 80s hip-hop song to kind of introduce the Geto Boys to the masses. Like you said, Surreal is the first time nationally people were probably seeing them. Really great beat by Reddy Red, who also raps on here, which was a rare thing. And you got Jay Prince talking on it like he does on a lot of Rap-A-Lot records, which made me think, was Jay Prince Puffy before Puffy was? He's talking on a lot of records, Jay Prince. But Do It Like a Geo is, I've always loved this song. So it had to get high. So that's my number 4. Raven, what's yours?
Jay Prince is way cooler than Puffy.
No doubt. I'm not.
let's just throw that out there.
No doubt about it. It's not a diss. It's just like Prince talks on a lot of records. But when you own the company, you can do whatever you want. Raven, you're number 4.
All right, my number 4. I went back to 2005, the foundation for Declarations of War. It's been talked about once already, but it was produced, I think Tone Capone produced that beat. It's got a nice classic Geto Boy sound, but it has a kind of a newer feel on the beats. Again, Scarface has a great fucking flow in that song. Like, he really I love Scarface and that Foundation album. I can't believe I never really fucked with that album before.
Yeah, and that Declaration of War is such a hard song. It was a great first track. Number 4, Surreal.
So from Till Death Do Us Part, Posse Cut, everybody on the entire lineup of the record label, bring it on!
So good.
Scarface is the only ghetto I can't remember, but the song's like forever long. And I just got to work a Devin the Dude show a few months ago. And some of the people that are on that track are still around doing music, and so, RIP to a lot of the guys up from that crew back then. But it's just classic track. It's just a classic track.
It is. I know when we did the top 10 Posse tracks, I know that was high on my list. It's such a good Posse track. The only thing that I thought was weird is you got this song with like 20 people on it on a Geto Boys album, but Scarface is the only Geto Boy on that song. You had no Bushwick and no Big Mike. I always kind of wondered why.
When you were making the rules on My Homies 2 Scarface, there's a song that's all the 3 main Geto Boys on that too, and it's billed Scarface featuring the Geto Boys, and it's the 3 main ones too. And I was like, is this break? Like, I feel like I almost tried to break the rules. Like I was trying to find these loopholes.
But on Bring It On, when Scarface comes in at the end, he just like destroys it. Great Posse track.
Remember Tulo's solo record, The Kid?
Yeah. He was like 12 years old talking gangster shit.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, his album cover was like an ID with his picture on it or something like that. Yeah. Tulo. Yeah, because he was on that Scarface solo album, The World Is Yours. He did a song. Wonder what Tulo is up to in 2023. All right, we are on number 4, and we are on Brad. What's up?
All right, so this is the song that so always the Geto Boys, like their first track on each album where they're actually rapping, maybe sometimes there's an intro before it, is incredible. And I had to decide between GETO and We Can't Be Stopped. So I played both, and I knew all the lyrics to We Can't Be Stopped. I know most of them to GETO, and it was really hard, but I was like, you know what? I think I got to go with We Can't Be Stopped as a slightly better track. So that punched out GETO. It just sets the scene for a fucking killer record. Honestly, again, I said could be my favorite record. We Can't Be Stopped could be a favorite record as well too. There's just so many good songs. I like how in the beginning they talked about like the Guns N' Roses stuff and Geffen not putting out their record. And then they talk one part where he's like, keep letting the government dictate what you hear. Next, they'll be putting stickers on your ear. Even with that move, we got them in anguish because we'll learn sign language. We can't be stopped. So I picked that one. And again, I could have picked GETO, but it sets the scene for that just incredible album with some of the best Geto Boys songs of all time.
That was honorable mention, and you're right. They always start. The first songs are always really, really good. Number 4, AP.
All right, my number 4, Mind of a Lunatic, and I always love the evil lyrics and the gore. We all do, right? We're a little attracted to it. We're all here for a reason. But I also love that song because when Bushwick he took 2 of the verses and put it on his solo album, Little Big Man, on the Schizo song or something, I think, where they come walking in, he's trapped in there, and he does it. So that's one of my favorite songs. And he added 2 more verses to that. And then I go back and listen to Mind of a Lunatic. I'm like, man, these lyrics are just so gory. I just fucking love it.
And it's amazing. It's 89 too. I mean,
yeah, it's back when I'm just a kid.
Right. No, that's a crazy, crazy song. Which brings us to the top 3. And I am taking us back to the year 1993's Till Death Do Us Part. And I'm going with 6 Feet Deep. With maybe the exception of Dead Homies by Ice Cube, this is the best rap song about this subject matter. I mean, from the very beginning, June 28 was the date, 38. I mean, just amazing. The beat by N.O. Joe, who, like I said, doesn't get enough credit. He's had his hands in so many classic Rap-A-Lot songs and projects. And all members ride the beat perfectly at the perfect tone to match the beat's vibe. And it's a simple but classic sample in the hook. 6 Feet Deep gets me from the very first line every single time. Like I said, with the maybe exception of Dead Homies, it's my favorite Dead Homies type track. So it had to make my top 3.
That one didn't make my list, but I was talking about putting it on the list because it did mean a lot to me. We had a lot of fallen friends, back in the day, and
Right.
that was the song that get us through it.
Such a great song. Raven, number 3. Did you have 6 Feet Deep?
Did not.
No.
Nothing off that album made my list. I still kind of stand by my pitchfork that it's not a very good album. I can't fuck with it. The only song I would have put on here was a Bushwick solo, so it didn't make it. So
I'll take that. That counts, don't it? No, that's
that Bushwick solo
only
song
with the-
"Till Death Do Us Part." I didn't include it because it wasn't a posse cut.
Right.
I still have yet to hear a rap song that has more insane, intense lyrics than that fucking song. That song is hands down the most evil song I've ever heard, and I fucking love that song.
So Mind of a Lunatic, that was my number 3 from the 1990 album. Everything's already been said about it. What a dope, wicked fucking song. And for its age, it's like, I'm sure that was fucking controversial and a little shocking to some people when that came out.
Things they're saying are still shocking. You really think about it. Right. Yeah.
You still don't hear that in mainstream music,
Right. We need a mainstream pop star to do some of them Bushwick verses to a pop beat. Right? Number 3, Surreal. What's yours?
real quick. 6 Feet Deep was, with the exception of Money by Pink Floyd, 6 Feet Deep is one of the only other songs where the word shit got by on national radio and video. And then eventually they went back and took it out. But I did notice a lot of markets would play, because shit one time is the only cuss word in the whole song.
Mm-hmm.
And it slipped. It was one of the only songs that where that they get away with that.
Interesting. That's really interesting.
My number 3 is Till Death Do Us Part, Murder After Midnight. And what another song where they sample themselves too. That just the way it creeps in. The whole first half, side A of Till Death Do Us Part, just flows flawlessly, in my opinion. But Murder After Midnight's one of those, like, I would, because I had it on tape originally, right. I would rewind it like over and over because I felt tougher when I listened to it or something. I don't know. It's you go back and listen, that shit's hard as fuck.
Geto Boys is good for that, make you feel a little tougher than you really are. No, that's a good number 3. Brad, what's yours?
All right, so we just talked about it, but I went with 6 Feet Deep. The sample on that is the Commodore's Easy, which also was sampled by Cameron for Hey Ma, which is way more popular of a song. But when I heard that Cameron song, I was like, wait a second, the Geto Boys sampled this song for 6 Feet Deep, and we've already talked about 6 Feet Deep is a great like slow track to all the homies that passed, and it's just an amazing record. Actually, this shirt, I'm going to try to, this is a 6 Feet Deep shirt. I'm going to see if you guys can see the back of it.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know your Geto Boy collection is one of the best I've ever seen. Maybe the best out there. I don't know. You pretty much got everything, right?
Pretty much, yep.
AP, what's your number 3?
It's already been talked about, but Damn It Feels Good to Be a Gangster. It's a classic. It'll never die, ever. And yeah, it's just one of those songs I put in. I feel like a fucking gangster. Fuck everyone.
Right. And I don't care if corny people like it. It's still a good song to me too. Number 2, and for the first time, I'm taking us to the 1991 album, We Can't Be Stopped. Maybe the best album cover in history. And I'm going with the obvious choice, Mind Playing Tricks. When you think of the Geto Boys, most think of this song. It's so amazing from the writing to the vibe. It's just so iconic. And this really put Geto Boys on the map. This song is the first time my local Milwaukee had a hip hop R&B station. And that's the first time they played a Geto Boys song, which I remember being like, the radio is playing Geto Boys. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I can remember that blowing my mind at the time. And when I hear this song, I always play the video in my head, especially Bushwick's verse. It's just the video plays in my head whenever I hear this for some reason. So that's very iconic too. Very hard not to have this at number 1, but what else can you say about it? Mind Playing Tricks, most well-known Geto Boys song. My number 2, Raven, what's yours?
I went back to 1996's Resurrection and Steel, the opener. That fucking beat by Mike Dean was just so fucking hard, and that was like I remember seeing the video for The World Is a Ghetto, and then going to like Sam Goody and buying the cassette and single, and like the next song to play after that is fucking Still, and it's such a massive difference between The World Is a Ghetto and
Right.
Still. But it made me like, holy fuck, they didn't go away. Like, they didn't get soft because, The World's Together was a much softer song than you
Right.
normally would hear from them, even though Willie D's still angry in that song.
He's always angry. Willie D is
You
always
redeemed
angry.
yourself, Raven. Yes.
But yeah, still.
Yeah, Willie D walks into a room and is like, "How y'all doing?"
Yeah, it's got to be mad.
No, that's a great, great song. And like we talked about, the openers of albums are just always killer with the Geto Boys. Surreal, what is your number 2?
I can't not bring this up. I know I'm talking a lot, but self-titled, the blood drop logo on the inside cover. Is that still like why did they not roll with that more? I don't know. Maybe there's a licensing thing.
Right.
Yes. That's amazing.
That is dope.
Off that
Yeah.
album.
Yeah.
That my number 2 is Fuck 'Em. It's another one of those where I'm like the white guy in Office Space that rolls his window. No. It's one of those that like makes you feel tougher than you really are.
Right.
Yeah. I'm about ready to punch my computer. I'm getting all excited.
No, it is a good one of those songs. Fuck them. That didn't make my honorable mentions, but it probably would have made my honorable mentions track.
I got a bone to pick because I'm sick.
Yeah.
You guys got so when I'm listening to it as soon as we're done here.
There'll be holes in your wall and shit. You'll be picking fights with people walking down the street. All right, number 2, Brad, what's yours?
Yeah, the self-titled album, back in the day, that was like my workout album. That album just is intensity all the way through. So Steel from Resurrection is my number 2. You mentioned it's a Mike Dean beat, and I think it's worth saying that Mike Dean and Joe were kind of like really great progenitors of that Southern hip hop sound. And then, and I know I mentioned this before, but I think it's worth saying because a lot of people don't know. Mike Dean, then when Scarface went and signed with what was it, Def Jam or whatever, and then worked with Jay-Z and a very young Kanye and Mike Dean met, and then they started working together. And some of the most iconic Kanye albums are ones that Mike Dean was working on, like My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. So for me, that was really cool because I fucking love Rap-A-Lot, not just the Geto Boys, like the whole Rap-A-Lot kind of collection. And then I really got into Kanye later, and then finding out that Mike Dean was like, I was like, well, no wonder I love, because this guy's a fucking genius. But anyway, still, like you said, that beat is it's just fucking killer. The rapping's killer. Had to be my number 2.
Mike Dean played keys on some of one or two of Kanye's tours, or maybe just some one-off shows. But there's some footage of him playing keyboards on stage.
We have one more number 2 to go, and that's Rowdy Jesus. What's your number 2?
I think it was your number 8. Yes, y'all. The Foundation. Yep. That song to me, like I said, that whole album is my favorite album as a whole now, and that's what I listen to mainly from the Geto Boys when I want to put it in. But that song particularly, every time Bushwick comes up, it just makes me love Bushwick Bill so much more. Every time, I just want to just grab him and run around and punch people with him. I don't know. It gets me so motivated every time I hear him spit on that song.
And I love how they mix kind of that old school 80s type hip hop with a more, Geto Boys modern vibe. Great song. I'm glad other people like it too, which brings us to number 1. And it's been talked about. 1996. My favorite Geto Boys song is Still. Like we've said, this song gets me so hype. The minute that beat drops, it's just like, after we're done, I'm going to have to go punch some people if I listen to it. And it was an amazing way to not only start the album, but start their reunion. People like me who were fans before they broke up, and they were coming back together, and there was ads in the source for this album, hyping it before it came up. And I was so excited to buy this record. And when it starts out this way, it's like, this is the Geto Boys. This is just Geto Boys perfection to me. All three members are on their game.
Yeah.
Hardcore gangsta shit. I put down makes you want to go fight. So still is still my number one. Raven, what's yours?
So there's only one song that I feel like is more like I'm gonna tear your fucking couch in half. Listen to this album, and it's on Resurrection, and it's even I think harder than Still, and that's Open Minded, and it's the only song that doesn't have all three of them in it that I picked because there's no Bushwick and Open Minded. It's got the Detrimental Gangsta in it, DMC in it,
DMG, rigor mortis.
yeah, DMG.
Rigor mortis,
That fucking beat is so hard, and I don't know. Like I've been pulled over to that song because I'm just on the highway, like going like 80 because I'm just like fuck them, you know. So yeah, Open
I'll need
Minded
counseling a little bit.
Yeah, Open Minded is definitely my favorite song they've ever done. Yeah, it's just so fucking hard.
Man, you just got your 7th speeding ticket because of Open Minded.
Right.
No, it is a hard beat, and you know it obviously didn't make my list, but that whole album is just
Yeah,
such a great record. Surreal, number one.
Hey, Tupac, Spice One, Gangsta Nip never sold a gun to me. My number one song, I'd like to say this has been really fun, guys. Thanks. And R.I.P. to Bushwick, R.I.P. to Ready Red, Seagram. There's quite a few Rap-A-Lot family members that are no longer with us, and I'd just like to thank everybody throughout the years that put out such good music to influence us. Yeah, there's the ultra violence and the in the sexist songs and stuff, but there was a real message about the problems with like in society, in poverty, and war, like fuck a war, in racism and stuff, and there was a lot of stuff you could learn from the records too, and I've always appreciated that. My number one song, off the Resurrection, First Light of the Day. It might be in my top 5 songs of any artist in any genre ever. I get goosebumps when I listen to that. You should have saw them fools' faces. Like, everybody just fucking murders that song. And if you would ask me, until we did this list, I didn't realize how, like, that's one of those songs where you listen to it, just takes you out to like to another world. Like, it's unbelievable. I think First Light of the Day, it's number one easily, and they have a lot of songs. I have like 50 songs on my list,
Right?
but First Light of the Day, The Resurrection, one of my best songs ever of any genre.
It was on my honorable mention, so I agree. Amazing song. What is number one on your list and heart, Brad?
Number one, normally I try to pick more obscure songs, but this to me is the hands down the best rap song ever made. Mind Playing Tricks on Me. It's just quintessential Geto Boys. The Isaac Hayes sample is just amazing. And then of course Bushwick's verse this year, Halloween fell on the weekend. And the video when he like runs, jumps up and tries to get that, fucking awesome. Like to me, I just had that's it. That's number one. And every song that's been said here tonight, it's so cool. I mean, I love every single one of these songs, even if they weren't picked. I agree. I think this has been super, for me, it's been super, super fun hearing everyone else's favorite stuff. And I love that the Foundation got picked so much. It's a fucking killer album. And a lot of people don't even know about it.
They don't even know.
I love that it's your favorite album because I think it's a fucking killer album. So I had a lot of fun too, as well.
I had G Code on. That was mine that got crossed out.
G Code is so good.
No, it was hard not to put Mind Playing Tricks at number one for me either, because it probably is, their best song ever and so iconic. If I see a package of Gold Medal flour at the grocery store, I start going.
My friend in high school, he would always say, I often drift when I drive, having fatal thoughts of suicide. And his mom thought he was suicidal. Like she heard him say that, and like, do you want me to take you to a psychiatrist?
All right. One song left. AP, what was number one for you?
Well, I'd like to say thanks for having me again. These are always fun. And I'm always ready to do a Gangsta Nip top 10 if you want. I don't know when, but hey, just think about it. Okay, so my number one, I'm gonna have to agree with Bradley. It's Mind Playing Tricks on Me. Right. the best song. And Bushwick, look at our Bushwick's verse. Yeah, this year Halloween fell on a weekend. When you hear that, you're just like so pumped. But yeah, that's just so iconic.
Can I change my answer?
Yeah, no, okay. So raise your hand if you changed your order and the songs in it multiple times. Because
Before
I,
today?
I
Oh.
kept
A lot.
looking
yeah,
a
over-
lot.
I changed it
Definitely.
today one more final time.
Yeah.
And
Same.
actually, this song I picked, number 1, was my 10 because I was like, oh, everybody's going to talk about it. Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But I was like, it has to be my number 1 because it is the best. And it always will be.
Absolutely. One of the most iconic songs in hip hop, period, not just Geto Boys. As always, honorable mentions. If nobody brought it up, and I thought I should at least get some love, I'll just quick say it. And most of these are ones I didn't pick because it was just one member, but they're on Geto Boy albums. Songs like Chucky and Size Ain't Shit. And the most problematic song maybe I revisited was I'm Not a Gentleman, but it still made me laugh like I was, 13 years old again or something.
I'm not a motherfucking gentleman.
A nice guy.
Yeah.
Or a good fella.
Okay. Yeah. It gets me. It gets me every time. Off the Bad album, Good, Bad, Ugly, there was one song I liked, An Eye for an Eye. Was a good song. And the only other one I had was Blind Leading the Blind off of Resurrection. Anyone else have something that we all missed that you can think of?
I had one the song where they just sample Scarface the entire way through and no one raps. I mean, it's not really a song, but that beat,
yep.
balls in my word or something.
Balls in my word.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, that
Yeah.
I didn't put it on the list, but I had to honorable mention it because just I can listen to that for hours. I don't know why it's so good.
Yeah, that was on Uncut Dope.
Yeah.
No one rapped on it. It was just
No one rapped.
samples.
It was just
Right.
samples of Scarface and other things.
Street Life's my mention. That Street Life where it's just Scarface and it's on the soundtrack for South Central, and then it made Till Death. That song's really good. And Serial Killer's good too, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
No,
so
I can do a whole nother 50 honorable
Right.
mentions, I guess.
Right. No, it's been great talking about the Geto Boys. I'm glad we finally got to it. Amazing group, obviously. And it was awesome too. This was a great episode. Thank you all once again. I'm going to sign off. And until next time, go listen to some Geto Boys, punch some walls. See you guys.
B-boy, from the old to the new, still a B-boy. Too bold for the school, still a B-boy. East coast to the west, B-boys worldwide, we supposed to be blessed. Still a B-boy, from the old to the new, still a B-boy. Too bold for the school, still a B-boy. East coast to the west, B-boys worldwide.